We move on to the fourth, which opens up the triple trio there on Sunday afternoon. Of course, there will be a small interval or recess between races 3 and 4 when we head to Korea for the sprint, which is, of course, S11, the code if you're betting through Hong Kong. And that'll be followed, the sprint in Korea, by the Tung Wah Group of Hospitals Challenge Cup, our cup race and presentation race for the day. Now, the Toppy's an interesting runner. He's got plenty of pace. He's been a little bit scratchy from the gates, but momentum lucky. There's been certainly some chatter around about him, suggesting he has some ability and can run well. Shuson, Big Fortune now with Douglas White. Supreme plus Blinkers. Super Agility. Dylan Moe will take a small claim. Down the bottom, Galaxy Racer. Master Albert's been a disappointment. Just the one win from 25, but quite well rated. Speedy Optimus, a quiet trial on Carnival Night. Calling the shots makes up the field of 12. Now, Chunfa, just calling the shots in this race, has done the travel from China into Hong Kong recently.
Well, momentum happy. He's got plenty of pace, but it's going to be his barrier manners that are going to be key, whether the rider can get him out with the rest of the field to Keith Young. He can step away okay after the first sort of 5 or 6 strides, but when the gates open, that'll be key. Supreme plus Speedy Optimist have the next sort of level of speed, calling the shots, and Galaxy Racer potentially caught wide. Shuson, I didn't like his recent trial. Be interesting to see what he does.
Here's the first starter of momentum happy. He goes nicely here. You can see the hold he's under as well. He's trialled well. He's had 4 trials, in fact. Has missed away a little bit, so got to keep an eye on that. But 1,094 a pound, so he looks ready to go, fresh up here. Supreme Plus, now he's dropped 28 pounds coming into this race. The blinkers have gone on him as well for the first time. Joe Moreira will take them out, so we saw on the speed map he should get a pretty good run, and his work's been not too bad here. And calling the shots, been up in Chung Fa since I've done this horse pretty well. Grant Van Niekerk aboard for Tony Cruz. And another one I thought would likely to go forward, and it does come under a good hold. And I see there's a bit of early money for him as well.
That there is. Let's start with Supreme Plus. Blinkers first time. Comes back from 1,400 metres to 1,200. He had the 2 runs at 14 last season. Had excuses in both. And I think the actual slower tempo slightly went against him, probably due to the fact that it was that distance and he lacks a little bit of mental maturity. But there's definitely an engine there. He's got a nice barrier. I think he's worth another chance.
Yeah, last start he was midfield between runners. He sort of got held up at the top of the straight. He's had a recent barrier trial. Didn't mind his recent barrier trial. You can see him there grinding away into second placing. That wasn't a bad effort behind Shining Ace at all. Joe Moreira, Frankie Law turning up for the first time this season. There's plenty of positives with him. He's been linking around that mark of 51, 52.
Yeah, he should get a nice run as well. I just wonder about that weight drop. That's the only thing that was a negative for me.
All right, it's a fair assessment and report there from Paul. Now, Aurora Pegasus had 2 runs at the Valley, and both of them suggested that he was looking for further, and obviously, needs to mature, but there's definitely an engine there. Big Fortune now with Douglas White.
Yeah, no, he's worked well recently, Big Fortune, and he's likely to lead from barrier 2, so he'll definitely get his chance. He's come up early favourite as well, Big Fortune. And look, I'm going to give Aurora Pegasus a chance as well. The tongue tie will go on him for the first time, and Jack Purden has ridden this horse before.
First start at Sha Tin, I think the bigger track suited to him, Tom.
Yeah, it did. It certainly did. It'll be interesting to see where he progresses. Big Fortune, he was a decent run 3 starts ago. He got an easy lead, but it was soft enough, but he just couldn't finish it off in the end. He was headed late. All
right, well, Alberto Sanna is going to take the ride on the Douglas White train Big Fortune. Let's hear from Alberto now.
Look, the trial was quite average. He was okay, and I didn't do a lot of work on him because always the trainers ride him. So I don't know. I hope and I wish he's fit enough to run a good race.
He's never won a race here in Hong Kong, but we saw something similar with Adonis last week, coming out and winning first time for Douglas. You've done a bit of riding for him over the last couple of months. What can you tell us from your point of view working with him, what he's like as a trainer, early days?
He's very professional, as he was as a jockey, and I think he's more professional also to be a trainer because he's look after every horse. As Big Fortune and Adonis, he always rides, so I don't know how is the fitting levels of the horses, and he knows very well because I've been around this stable for a while, and he spent a lot of time on his horses in the morning time and the evening times, and for me it's a big pleasure to stay around him, and have some rides for him, because it's something new in Hong Kong to see a trainer. He rides the horses and look after in the evening to like he walks and he's changing something to the gears and the food. It's very good, very. After coming from a unlucky season last year, this year is for me is a big advantage, and to stay close to him and see how he's working with the horses, make my mind more fresh and more happier to stay in Hong Kong, which is very good.
So you're licensed until December. We're up to the second meeting of the season on Sunday. Do you feel it's important for you to be able to get a good start and a few winners early to get going?
Yes, but I have to be fair. I'm not worried about my license, because I know I'm a able jockey, and if I will ride the nice horses, I will be able to win the races. As I showed before in Hong Kong, when I first arrived on my first stint, I did well. So if I stay healthy, no worries about the license. I will keep going and riding. I'll keep riding some winners.
He's a very talented jockey, no doubt about that, Alberto Santa. 5 rides for him there on Sunday. As we move on to the debutant, I may have called him Momentum Lucky initially. Of course, the owner did have one a season or so ago who was quite a handy horse. This is on debut, Momentum Happy, a 3-year-old ISG. What do we make of him?
Well, most of his trials have been on the all-weather. He's only had one turf trial, and he didn't go too badly. It was in December of last year. I don't think this is a strong race. He's drawn wide. I think he could go forward. And look, he looks like he's got ability. I'm going to take a chance on him because I think he'll come up at a double-figure price. He's 12 at the moment, and I think it's a winnable race for him. So I'll take a chance with him.
Interesting. Derek Lung has been on board in all of the trials. Keith Young takes the ride. He was a $3.7 million purchase out of the ISG sale. I'm happy to take a chance on him as well. But the start where he lands, if the speed map had him up front, if he misses the kick, he might struggle to get there.
Yeah. C-course gate 12, you need to step well, no doubt about that, unless he's got something blistering under the belt and can offset that if he doesn't step well. He's some chance of getting caught deep. But I've snuck him in as well. Who did you end up on top, though, Paul?
No, I did. I ended up with him on top. I think this is the trickiest race of the day. But, look, at an each-way price, I'm wanting to take a chance with him. Big Fortune seems to have improved a bit under Douglas White. He's still a 15-start maiden. But, look, he'll get a good run from barrier 2. Master Albert, now, he's one of 64. He's down to 47. He's only a one-time winner, though. To be fair, he's been a bit disappointing since he's been here, but he's definitely got ability, and this is a winnable race for him as well. And Aurora Pegasus, with the limited starts and the tongue-tie on. 1-3-10-6.
Yeah, I'm happy to take the chance as well with the one Momentum Happy. As long as he steps away well from that wide draw, I think he can certainly be a player. Supreme Plus goes in with the blinkers on first time. Aurora Pegasus tongue-tie first time. And I'll throw Mischievous Sunday in with the pacifier on for the first time. Gate 3, Blake Shin, John Size. Had a recent quiet trial. Ended up 3 wide, no cover 2 runs ago. And chased home Precious Sweetie last start. His best run was 3 runs ago, went second. So I'll throw him in. 1, 5, 6 and 7.
Yeah, it's an interesting race. I worked around the 5 and the 6. I think they're 2 nice young horses on the way through. So that's the 4th done and dusted. We'll take another short break. Races 5 and 6 right after this.